Tonight, the dinar community is experiencing one of the most intense and electrifying moments in recent memory as a surge of synchronized reports pours in from banking insiders, international financial contacts, and longtime analysts who specialize in global currency events. Welcome back to Currency Revalue, where we break down complex financial shifts with clarity and precision. What began earlier this evening as scattered whispers has now grown into a rapidly escalating narrative. Multiple credible sources are claiming that Iraqi dinar contract rates have gone active and are showing as live, dynamic data inside select international banking systems. After years of speculation, countless false alarms, and endless cycles of anticipation, the tone surrounding tonight's update stands apart. More coordinated, more technically aligned, and more consistent with the signals experts have always said would precede a major monetary event. According to the earliest insider alerts, just before 7 p.m. Eastern Time, major United States and international banking platforms began undergoing unusual and highly targeted system updates. These weren't the familiar nightly maintenance routines or standard automated refreshes that banks typically run. These updates were specifically flagged as rate adjustment entries, a classification that immediately caught the attention of currency specialists who have spent years monitoring the backend architecture of global banking systems. Within minutes, those who watch internal bank screens reported that contract rates for the Iraqi dinar were not only visible, but behaving as active, real-time data feeds rather than placeholder numbers. This distinction is critical because when values update in real time, it typically indicates that the system is operating beyond simulation mode and is moving into a functional integration phase. To appreciate the magnitude of this, it's important to recognize the timing. The window between 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern Time is widely known as the global synchronization period. When banks around the world align their ledgers, international settlement systems refresh, swift updates run, and financial institutions prepare for the next global trading cycle. It is the quietest but most consequential zone in the 24-hour financial clock. For years, analysts have predicted that if a currency revaluation were ever to occur, it would almost certainly begin during this exact synchronization window to avoid market disruption and ensure seamless international alignment. Tonight's activity mirrors that prediction with astonishing precision. Inside Iraq, the sequence of events leading up to tonight has also been intensifying. The Central Bank of Iraq has recently completed its recalibration of budgetary frameworks, a requirement widely believed to be a final preparatory step before implementing monetary reform. Additional reports from within the country indicate that lower denomination bills have been distributed to certain banks for internal handling tests, while ATM machines across key provinces have undergone calibration updates believed to be tied to new currency values. The Ministry of Finance has also increased its public messaging regarding the restoration and elevation of the dinar's value, emphasizing economic sovereignty and reduced reliance on the US dollar. All of these developments have been interpreted by experts as foundational building blocks for Iraq's return to a robust, internationally recognized currency. Central to tonight's emerging storyline is the concept of contract rates, special pre-negotiated internal rates historically reserved for institutional groups, international partners, and specific private tiers during a currency reform event. These contract rates have nothing to do with street prices or public Forex values. Instead, they represent the earliest internal phases of a revaluation, visible only to certain banking tiers before any public release. For seasoned analysts, the activation of contract rates inside banking systems has always been considered the strongest indicator that a currency revaluation has entered its operational execution stage. This is why tonight's reports are generating such an overwhelming response. Within the commonly referenced tiered rollout model, Tier 1 includes governments and central banks, Tier 2 consists of institutional players, and Tier 3 includes private groups. Tier 4, where individual dinar holders are placed, activates only after the upper tiers have locked in their contract rates. Historically, once contract rates go live and stabilize, a public foreign exchange rate typically appears within 24 to 72 hours. This timeline is why the next few days are being watched with extraordinary intensity across the global dinar community. Inside Iraq, momentum is building on multiple fronts. Local financial networks have been discussing the final stage of the currency reform project, indicating a coordinated push toward restoring the dinar's true market strength. Banks in Baghdad and several major provinces have reportedly begun limited cross-border settlement tests using the dinar rather than the US dollar, something that has not occurred at scale for decades. This shift aligns with the broader national objective of de-dollarization and the long-term vision of using the dinar for both domestic and international trade, including oil-related agreements. Equally important is the continued coordination between the Central Bank of Iraq and the U.S. Treasury, which suggests that this process is not random, but is unfolding within a structured and internationally aligned framework. On the U.S. side, the developments are equally compelling. Multiple insiders claim that major banks, including Wells Fargo, Chase, and Bank of America, have activated heightened monitoring protocols. Even more striking are the internal rate screens reportedly showing fluctuating, live feed data for the Iraqi dinar, as well as the Vietnamese dong. These fluctuations are critical because they indicate active rate testing and synchronization rather than placeholder values. Analysts consistently state that this type of movement is exactly what occurs in the hours immediately before a currency becomes visible on global Forex platforms. If the reports are true and the systems have indeed transitioned from testing to near-launch mode, the next phases would be predictable. Confirmation by the Central Bank of Iraq or authorized international entities, notifications to Tier 4 participants, and the eventual unveiling of the new public rate across global markets. Once the rate is visible publicly, the revaluation becomes fully official, recognized, and irreversible. Historically, governments and banks maintain silence during these critical hours to verify system stability, meaning that the absence of public announcements is often a sign of progress rather than delay. For everyday dinar holders, community leaders and financial advisors are urging caution, patience, and vigilance. This is the moment when misinformation and scams tend to spread rapidly, exploiting heightened emotions. The universal guidance is clear. Wait for official bank instructions, avoid unofficial groups making extravagant claims, and safeguard personal information. If the revaluation is indeed underway, every decision made in the coming days carries long-term financial consequences. Globally, economists and currency analysts are monitoring how this event, if confirmed, could impact other asset-backed currencies such as the Vietnamese dong and the Zimbabwe dollar. A successful, stable revaluation in Iraq could inspire similar monetary shifts in multiple regions and reshape how global currency value is measured in the future. For Iraq, however, this moment symbolizes far more than financial reform. It represents a national turning point, an opportunity to reassert economic independence, build international confidence, and reclaim monetary sovereignty after decades of conflict and reconstruction. Across social media platforms, the reaction tonight is explosive yet measured. Many long-time watchers agree that the present alignment of signals feels substantially different from past cycles. The convergence of timing, technical indicators, insider confirmations, and global coordination has created a sense that the long-anticipated transition may now be unfolding in real time. As we move through these critical overnight hours, every sign suggests that Iraq may have initiated the long-awaited shift in its currency value. Systems appear active, indicators are lighting up, and the atmosphere feels unmistakably charged with forward motion. We will continue monitoring every development closely and bringing you timely updates the moment new confirmations emerge from banks or global financial platforms. Stay tuned to Currency Revalue, because what happens next has the potential to redefine not just the dinar, but the future of multiple global currencies.